Did you know that the IRS forgives tax penalties? My name is Sergio Melendez. I am an IRS tax expert. Today, I will be discussing how you could get your penalties forgiven from the IRS. So this guide is meant to just provide information to you how you could get your penalties forgiven. I broke it down into three basic parts. The reason why I broke it down to three basic parts is because you might be stuck on one part, or if you completed that task already, you might move on to the second part. Or if you completed the first two, then you might be just on the last leg part of the penalty forgiveness. So the IRS, they give you these penalties and they're really stiff. There's the failure to file penalty and the failure to pay penalty. There's also the accuracy related penalty, amongst others. The IRS gives you these penalties as a way to punish you. You either didn't file the taxes on time or you didn't pay the taxes on time. They give them to individual tax filers, they give them to business tax filers. But there is good news. Now, as a way to reward you, for you to continue filing on time and continue paying on time, they have these penalty forgiveness programs. But in order, when you're dealing with an IRS process like a penalty forgiveness, it's very important that you just don't wing it. You just don't dive into it. You need to have some kind of plan of attack. I am going to give you the plan of attack on how to get it done. So the three different parts of making the request to the IRS is broken down like this. Part one is you should do a little bit of preparation prior to making the request. Part two is putting the actual request and the reasons why you're making the request for the penalty forgiveness. And the last part is making the request, submitting it to the IRS, and awaiting the response back from them. So this is part one of the penalty abatement process, or the penalty forgiveness with the IRS. I broke down part one into three things to do before you make the request. So one of the first things you should do is you should have all your taxes filed up, whether you're an individual tax filer or if you're a business. This right here too, this is known as compliance with the IRS. You must be in tax filing compliance. You have to get yourself all filed up. So if you have a couple missing tax years, it's very important that you have everything filed to date. And the second thing you should do now that you're all filed up with your tax return is that you're supposed to fix the root problem of why you owe money to the IRS. So if you're an employee and you get paid through your paycheck and you don't have enough taxes withheld, fill out a fresh W-4 form. The W-4, make sure that you fill it out correctly. Look at the worksheets, fill it out. I have a link below of how to fill it out correctly. If you're self-employed, there are no taxes taken out, so you want to make sure that you're making your quarterly estimated tax payments. And in addition, if you had a business or you had some kind of Schedule A itemized deductions, you would want to make sure you have enough proof and records of whatever you put down on the tax return. Should you get chosen for an audit down the future, you would have to eliminate that problem by having enough proof to prove all your deductions that you put on the tax return. And the third thing you should do is you're supposed to have some kind of solution with the IRS regarding the tax balance with them. What I mean by some kind of solution is some kind of installment agreement or pay the taxes in full. If you have a balance and you might qualify for, let's say, offering compromise or a financial hardship, such as non-collectible status or a partial payment installment agreement, then those other solutions don't quite apply for penalty abatement or penalty forgiveness. And the reason being is that those are the solutions, it's a break on the tax itself. So you're not going to even pay the taxes itself, nor the interest, nor the penalties. Those are financial based products. So if you qualify only for installment agreement, installment plan, or you pay the taxes in full, then this is when the penalty forgiveness applies. So once you do those three things, which is get all your taxes in, fix the problem, and get yourself on some kind of solution, now you're ready to move on to part two of making the request for the IRS to forgive the penalties. So that sums it up for part one. Once you have all that mattered, then you are ready for part two of making the request and putting the request together for the IRS to forgive your penalties. If you like this video, please click like and don't forget to subscribe.